Hello and welcome to StatesCube TV. I'm Jake Williams. I'm here with Nikhil Deshpande. He's the Chief Digital Officer for the state of Georgia, the newly appointed Chief Digital Officer for the state of Georgia. Nikhil, thanks for being with us.
Nice to be here.
So you're very new into the role. Tell us about the role and what you oversee, and what are some of the big challenges and opportunities that you see in your state?
Sure. Yes, you're right. This is a newly appointed role, and while the title is new, there's a lot of the stuff that we have been doing in the past is still constant, but we are expanding our services. So, Calvin Rhodes, our CIO, created the Office of Digital Services within the Georgia Technology Authority. Our platform that hosts about 82 websites across state agencies and elected officials is still the key device to have conversations with agencies. They're always going to need to update information to make sure any new service that's being communicated to needs to be on this website and on this platform. But then we don't stop there. Like, where can we go beyond that? So one of our flagship projects in the recent past has been exploring something that goes beyond just a website or a web application. And that's kind of where the intent is. And a majority of my role is really kind of be that citizen advocate. When we talk to agencies and business owners, like, great, we're having these conversations around technology, about usage, but we represent the citizens, because end of the day, it's a taxpayer-funded model, and we make sure that they are represented, and everything that we build really makes sense from a constituent perspective. It's usable, it's accessible, and it performs the way we expect it to perform.
That's exciting. And so tell us about the biggest project that you and your team have completed this year. I know we've covered a ton that you've done, and I'm excited to hear more about that. How is it changing the way that you and your state do business?
So one thing I can think of, like the most recent one, is we recently launched an Alexa skill, and it's called Ask Georgia Gov. So what we did was we looked at Georgia Gov. We have 50 popular topics. They are all based on what our constituents are searching for, what they're clicking on, so we know that they are popular. So we worked with agencies to make sure we have accurate information, but create information in a very web-friendly form. So we had a very truncated, a very kind of synoptical kind of version of what the agency websites would have around that topic. Just bullet point, brief paragraphs. So we attached that to an Alexa skill. So we didn't build a skill with information in it. We still believe in like the whole single source of truth where it's coming from Georgia Gov. But as we saw Alexa reading it, we were like, wow, this is still too verbose. Like, when you read it yourself, it's different than someone reading out to you. So we even went down and like cut it shorter, still not losing any key information. And we saw that, wow, this is actually changing the way we are using content on our website, but still be effective for like digital assistants. So the Alexa skill probably is like the most recent project. And it's definitely will change the way we provide. This is a new channel beyond the web or applications. So I will be excited to see how this actually gets implemented, and then how more agencies get on board to use this.
That's really, really exciting. And one of the cool things about digital and digital services is that it gives you the opportunity to collaborate with a bunch of different areas and branches of government and people across the board. How are you collaborating with other entities, and how do you think collaboration is going to change the way that you operate?
Collaboration is key. You're right. Having digital services now as a center for excellence, as we call it, right? Because we get representatives from our key agencies, and we have conversations around what is it that we can be doing together, which is citizen-centric, and the applications, the websites, or any other things like, say, Alexa or chatbots. Where are the gaps, right? So we don't lead it from a solution perspective. We lead it from like, what are you seeing where you're falling short? We recently started doing experience journey maps, and like literally documenting all the journeys of a certain persona across how they use state services. And where we see like there's like a dip between like a certain touch point where they interact with the state and it's not being served, that's where we should focus on and kind of raise that up to kind of make sure our service delivery is consistent.
Sure. And if we talk in a year, what do you want some of your biggest accomplishments as Chief Digital Officer to have been?
As we speak, we are working on re-platforming our web platform. So we are using Drupal 7 right now. As we all know, Drupal 8's out there, and we are looking at a very future-facing model for having a web platform, but it's mostly like, again, going back to the single source of truth idea.
Yeah.
It's not just for websites. Even if it's a web content management system,
Yeah.
it's not just for web delivery. We can extend that to multiple channels, but without having to duplicate all the content, because we really want to hold on to the key message. And as long as it's in one place, it can be syndicated across. So that's something we're working on, and hopefully by next year this time, we should be pretty close to having like a good steady platform, and then we start moving our websites to this new platform.
That's exciting. And so, last question, we've seen the Chief Digital Officer role and the focus on digital services start to expand across the country, both at the federal level with agencies like 18F and the United States Digital Service, but also in states like Rhode Island and California. You have people doing these types of roles. How do you see this role advancing into other governments, and how do you hope to help facilitate that?
I think one of the things probably might be different with this role that I'm holding is we already have these partnerships established.
Right.
So we are kind of lucky in the way that we already have agencies trusting us. So my previous team, Georgia Government Interactive, which merged into this Digital Services Georgia team, we have some newer people as well, from actually the private sector. So we really are leveraging their expertise as well on that. Going forward, I think the key would be just to have the citizen-centric conversation about what are the problems we're trying to solve, and then go after those problems. And innovation definitely will be a byproduct of this initiative. Like, we don't want to be driving from an innovation perspective, but because we have this platform with all the agencies using our existing services, I think we are kind of already there as far as establishing trust, being that trusted partner with agencies, but also kind of have really good support from my leadership, our state CIO and state CTO, working with them on making sure that if there's a certain initiative, for example, we are really trying to kind of make sure that we represent, a state brand, regardless of the property. So this is a centralized team that would manage how agencies would be branding themselves or co-branding themselves to be, a trusted provider towards the citizens, because that is key into this kind of day and age when constituents are not sure whatever they're clicking on is the right link or the true link to be clicking on.
Yeah.
So how do we establish or re-establish that trust? So the branding aspect of it is pretty key as well in that. So there are like a lot of functions that would come together within this office.
Well, that's really exciting, Nikhil. I'm so excited to see more, and so excited for you, and excited to see more about what's coming in from Georgia.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
For more about what Nikhil Deshpande and the team are working on in the state of Georgia, check out statescoop.com. I'm Jake Williams, StateScoop's Associate Publisher and Director of Strategic Initiatives. Thanks for watching.